I spent the first lockdown with my housemate Dan. So I live with one of my best mates, so lockdown should have been pretty fun, just two of us hanging out. But Dan, in the first lockdown, he had a full-on mental breakdown, killing the vibe. This is your first lockdown, man. Keep it together. Difficult situation. I wasn't sure what to do in that situation. What we did was, and I don't know if you know you can do this, but it's an amazing service the NHS offers. What you can do if you're ever in this need, right? You can walk into an A&E at any time and you can say to them, I feel at danger because of my mental health. And they will get you to see a therapist that day. How brilliant is that service, right? Exactly. Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, 4 people care. But it's amazing, but it is genuinely amazing, and it's excellent as well because they treat it just like any other illness. They make you wait for ages. So you literally walk in, you're like, I'm thinking of killing myself. And they're like, yeah, just take a seat over there. Love NHS nurses, they're so blasé about everything. You can walk into any and be like, I've got a firework up my arse. They're like, yeah, just take a seat over there. It's lit, we'll just stand over there. I am busy. Don't know if you ever tried to convince your best mate that life's worth living, but sort of hard to do in an A&E waiting room. It's not normally where one finds their joie de vivre. Some are learning karate. I thought I'd keep talking to him, I didn't want to go on my phone, there was no signal, would have been shit. I thought, try and keep his spirits up, but he was having the worst day of his life, so he was a terrible audience. And I hadn't really done anything that he didn't know about because it was lockdown, so I was just trying to make boring pandemic chat, just awful, just sitting there like, I don't get what the deal is with banana bread, to be honest. What's the fuss? I've never finished a meal and gone, oh, you know what I crave? Fruit bread. That Matt Hancock's useless, isn't he? Yeah. At least he seems like an honest family man. I mean, that's good. Nice. Not one of those MPs who's just in it for fame. Oh, 3 hours that no one's ever going to get back. Then eventually, the therapist comes out. She says, we'll see you now. We got up, Dan went into this little room, I went to follow him, and the therapist stopped me and she said to Dan, do you want this ginger prick to come in with you? She's like, do you want him to come in with you? Because obviously it's a very personal thing. And Dan looked back at me and he said, yeah, I do. That's nice, isn't it? Appreciate that. Thank you. It's a wonderful thing with friends. I didn't know we were that close, to be honest. I never know how close I am with most of my friends. I sometimes sit there and go, who even are my friends? Just people who keep replying? Is that it? One day they stop me like, well, we had a good run, and that's that. He was letting me into his private moment. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience for me. But obviously also it was a shame because that was quite a good opportunity for me to leave. So I went in, I was like, this day keeps going, and then I walked in. We sat down, me, the therapist, Dan. The therapist started asking Dan all these questions. Didn't ask me any. Rude. You know what I mean? Apparently old Woodsy's not having a breakdown. But she's asking him all these questions like, how are you? How are you feeling? Why do you think you're here today? And within 10 seconds, she got out of Dan that Dan, my best mate, has had severe depression for years. I didn't know. I thought, what a shit friend I've been. I had no idea. I hadn't done the thing you're supposed to do with your mates where you go, how are you? And they go, I'm fine. And then you go, no. How are you? Really? Never do that with my friends. I feel like whenever one of my friends is a bit quiet, maybe something's up, I think there's a few options, like a flow chart, they come out of my head. One of the options is talk about it. The other options are take the piss, change the subject, ignore it. Oh, I love this side of the flow chart, don't you, lads? No more tears on this side. I realised in that moment I'd let him down. I haven't given him the space to express himself. I thought, I'm going to stop being a shit friend, I'm going to start being a better friend, right? I thought, what can I do in this moment? First thing I thought, I was like, right, I'm going to listen. I'm going to properly listen. I'm a better talker than a listener. I think a lot of us can relate to that. Like, you ever try and send a voice note on WhatsApp, hold the thing down for 2 seconds? 1 minute 30. How the hell did that happen? Oh, but then you receive a voice note from your friend that's 1 minute 30. You're like, oh my God, why are you dropping this podcast on me? Jesus. I've got to find a free afternoon to listen to your life. So I'm going to listen, okay? Therapist was amazing. She gave me all this advice. She said, look, we'll try and get you therapy in the long term, but what you can do right now is you can go back to your flat and you can start doing stuff that nourishes you, that makes you feel better, right? Away from drink and drugs, because that stuff will only make you feel worse. So I was like, right, I remembered that. So I went back to the flat with Dad and I said, right, mate, me and you will be sober together. We won't drink, right? I'll do it with you. So we spent the first 40 days of lockdown sober. That was a long 40 days and nights. I don't remember hearing that from anyone else. How did you get through lockdown? I did Lent, mate. Smashed out Lent at the top. It's easy after that. And then I said to him, right, what's going to nourish you? What are you going to enjoy? Because I'll do it with you as well. I'll do that with you. And he had to think, and I was like, oh my God, what's he going to say? You know what I mean? Because whatever he said, I would have done it with him, obviously. If he'd have come back and be like, I really like tickling other people's bollocks, I would have gone, let's fucking go, let's do it. Weird thing to explain to my parents who are visiting, your platonic friends there, I just got my trousers around my ankles. I'm doing this for his mental health. He had to think. He came back to me and was like, I really love cooking for other people. I thought, that sounds great. Yeah. If you need me to be hungry for you, I'm your brother. Do you feel like starting the healing process now? Because I'm a bit peckish. It was fantastic. He was signed off work because of the breakdown. So he had all this time. He just started cooking me all my meals in lockdown. He had Chaya trying out recipes, new dishes. Oh, it was fantastic. Like living with the depressed ratatouille. Ooh. What's the secret ingredient? Oh, the salt from your tears. Yum, 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 yum. Did put me under quite a lot of pressure to enjoy the food. That's all I'll say. Couldn't really go full Gordon Ramsay on about like this linguine made me want to kill myself. You can't.